Earth Defense Force 2025 is all about blowing up tons of bugs and having a great time. Unfortunately, the fun is often held back by an inconsistent frame rate that dips more often than a heart rate monitor. It runs badly, and some of its mission design is tedious, but that constant over-the-top destruction and co-op with distinct classes make it hard to stay mad at. As I played, red flags popped up right away. Dead enemies become impossibly stiff and bounce around the environment. Buildings crumble under the slightest weapons fire. A silly story is delivered through horrid voice acting, like this.
We haven't seen giant insects in 7 years.
But knocking EDF for stuff like that is like criticizing McDonald's for its interior decorating. It's missing the point. Shooting giant ants, spiders, robots, and other creatures with a vast and imaginative arsenal is what matters. The bugs aren't as dumb as you might think. They crawl over buildings and circle around behind you. Robot walkers bombard you from a distance. Thankfully, combat isn't as simple as dropping a bomb down an anthill and calling it a day. Poor frame rates do make some of the annoying enemies even more frustrating. One giant spider weaves webs and then drags you into them. The webs it shoots out have an insanely long reach, and they can fly through buildings. Ants can also charge at you, pick you up, and eat you alive. It's hard enough to dodge them when the game is running smoothly, let alone when it's chugging for dear life. 2025's 4 classes each have unique weapons and abilities. The Ranger class is your standard soldier, equipped for battle with assault rifles, rocket launchers, and other normal weaponry. Then there's the Wing Diver, a class that can fly, but whose weapons and equipment draw from the same energy pool. In her case, getting to a vantage point is easy, but you can't fire as freely as the other classes. The differences between them aren't subtle, they seriously impact how you play. EDF has always been about blowing stuff up with friends, and that's even truer in 2025. One class, the Air Raider, feels almost useless alone, but in co-op, the airstrikes, healing wards, and vehicle drops are excellent. A Wing Diver can cover the rest of the team with sniper fire. The Fencer, which is a huge beefy tank class, is slow but well equipped to rush into a bug mob. Don't mistake this for deep tactical gameplay. It's still a bunch of people blowing up bugs, but they're doing it in different ways at the same time. 2025 makes this easy with 2-person split-screen co-op and up to 4 players online. The first dozen levels of 2025 make a bad impression, so it's a good thing they're short. You walk over to a group of bugs, kill them, and wait for the new batch to pop onto your radar. Then you do it again and again and again. It feels lazy, and it's not until later that the missions become more interesting. Even when some of the missions become repetitive, killing enemies still yields new weapons and armor. Knowing your character is always growing stronger is a nice motivator to keep playing. Some levels are designed so that only the flying Wing Diver class can move through them quickly. The Fencer specifically is too slow and takes forever to move through some of the underground tunnels. Level design built around one specific class feels boring and out of place, and it happens too often to just be a minor annoyance. This problem is amplified in co-op mode, where one player slows down the whole pack or is just left behind. You can duke it out with one other person in the split-screen versus mode if you'd like, but it's not worth the time. 2025's weapons aren't tuned for precise one-on-one encounters. Blasting each other with AoE weapons feels like something you do to goof off in the middle of a more comprehensive multiplayer mode. Earth Defense Force 2025, a game about fighting giant bugs, has been dragged down by significant performance bugs. I can forgive and even enjoy the quirky physics and awkward voice acting EDF is known for, but the terrible frame rate turns this fast-paced action game into a slow-motion chugfest when it matters most. Killing bugs with these varied classes and weapons is still a ton of fun, especially in co-op, but it's not what it should be. For more on EDF 2025, keep it right here on IGN. But for now, here's an extended look at some 4-person co-op.